How's it going, fellas? I'm OrosZ, and this is another episode of Mortal Kombat. And in today's episode, we get to play as Liu Kang. And check it out. It's my favorite Mortal Kombat character who just showed up. Ermac. He's my favorite. He's always been. In Mortal Kombat 3, which I think is where he first officially appeared, he was cool because he was like a red ninja, and I really liked red when I was a kid. It was my favorite color.
He is unlike anything you have fought before.
Is he? But man, Ermac never gets any time to shine. He's always... Ermac's whole character is that he's always just like a blind, obedient servant to somebody. But he's just so fucking cool.
We will destroy you.
The fact that he's just a bunch of dead warriors' souls fused together to make like a whole new human being is just a fucking really cool idea. In my opinion, but it just... Do you hear that? That's me pressing buttons just to try to see if just to try to do the moves so I could memorize them better than just looking at the fucking button inputs on this stupid fucking screen. It's a good thing this fucking Oshi, Yennefer, whatever, it's a pretty big bottle, so I have something to drink. I didn't have anything to drink for the past couple of episodes, and my throat was getting really fucking fucked up. I'm gonna speak like this for the whole episode. If my audio doesn't sound like it's going through a can and already. Had some hard time coming up with words I'm trying to say, Jesus. I like playing as Liu Kang, despite him making dumb noises every time he does a move. Him, you know, being like a Bruce Lee ripoff. Kind of an obligatory fighting game Bruce Lee ripoff. I think Bruce Lee might have been the only person in the history to have like some genuine superpowers, because the 1-inch punch, you guys ever seen the footage of him doing that? How the fuck is that even possible to do? 1-inch punch, that's the most insane shit I ever seen. You guys heard the story of how Bruce Lee's son died? Supposedly Bruce Lee, you know, he was like a genuine fucking martial artist, but he, I guess, also was like a huge martial art movie star, right? I heard he was kind of a dick, but like, I guess once the fame got into his head. And you guys ever heard the story of how his son died? I think his name was Brandon Lee. He was on a set of a movie, and he had like a gun with blanks in it. And I guess he tried to prove that blanks don't kill people, they only make a sound, so he pointed at his head and shot the blanks, and he killed himself. Reminds me of that story going around recently. Who the fuck shot one of his crew members by accident with a gun on a movie set? I'm getting fucking paranoid. What the fuck is this sound? Everywhere. All over the place. Going from every direction. Freaking me the fuck out.
Fight!
Very uncomfortable right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on with me. I was saying, I mentioned last episode, 2 episodes ago, I watched Alita Battle Angel. And yeah, that movie's fucking awesome. I don't know why the fuck everything I heard about that movie so far that was kind of eh. I fucking love that movie. And you know what I was thinking, like, is this movie safe to show to kids? It's a bit edgy. There's some gruesome stuff, but it's like never somebody...
Earthrealm will not fall into your
Well, there's one moment where somebody gets cut in half, and there's blood, but there's not a lot of blood like Mortal Kombat. It's like a little bit of blood. That might be kind of fucked up, like the camera doesn't focus on that too much. It kind of like shows you that, but immediately looks away.
I will ensure he does not reach the final challenge.
But there are some gruesome deaths. Like one character gets like thrown into like a grinder and gets grinded up, even though he was a robot, so it didn't really wasn't looking that gruesome, but dying in a grind is probably one of the most gruesome deaths I can think of. Another thing was somebody getting their heads, like face sliced off,
For my vision to be realized,
like
you
part
must
of their
not let
face just
emotion
sliced
overpower
off.
you.
Your vision.
But there was also a robot with
My
the only
future
part
self sent
remaining
them to me, perhaps to
from their
ensure
human
some
was their
outcomes.
face,
Or to prevent one.
but the whole entire rest of the body was you know,
He must win.
was it what the
Those
fuck
are
I'm
my
trying to
last
say?
words before I die.
What?
I believe it is you who must win.
Is Liu
This
Kang just
amulet
okay with
was
Raiden having
forged by
visions
the
of him
Elder
dying?
Gods. It cracked here in the present after my first vision. If we choose wisely, the future will
I
be
love the
secured
meme where it's
and the
this
cracks
scene where
healed.
Raiden's like, it was
I
forged by the
trust you will
Elder
make the right
Gods, and then instead of the
You
medallion,
must
somebody
trust
like
in the Elder Gods to
photoshops
defend.
in like a disc of a video game. Like I've seen that done with like Crash Team Racing. That's a disc for Crash Team Racing on PS1. It was forged by the Elder Gods. They should have done that, but with Mortal Kombat 9's disc. Hey, it's a hot girl. Holy shit. You think Kitana was the most downgraded character out of all these? Kicked her in the ass, nice. She's very distracted. She
You're
can't
good.
fucking
Show me
think
more.
straight.
Do not underestimate me, Shaolin.
Also, Liu Kang, stop fucking acting like a perv. Also, did you notice how this game gets... I take that back. I was gonna say this game gets better looking once I'm in a fight. And then immediately this game just like blurs out. Not to mention I still didn't turn on the fucking subtitles because I'm a dumbass. Maybe I should say what the characters are saying so you can understand. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Alita Battle Angel. There's so much cool shit in this movie. Like, Alita herself's pretty cool, even though her eyes are a bit distracting. I don't think this movie would lose much if her eyes were normal size. Unless the actress' eyes were really small. Then maybe she would look a bit weird. Like, nobody else in the movie has big eyes like an anime character like she does.
Liu Kang
And it's a bit distracting.
round 2.
I'm not a fan of that very much. Alita herself's pretty cool, even though I think she's a bit too trusting of others and gets involved. Like, I mean, she's already involved. She's the main character, but I'm trying to say she gets engaged a bit too much in other people's affairs. The Doctor, who's pretty much Alita's dad, who put it together from like scrapped robots he found. He's also fucking awesome, because at first you think, like, oh, he's just like an old man. Like, the first time we see him, he's the first character we see. When this movie begins, it's like showing this destroyed world with like another city floating on like a big disc above it. And I was like, oh, is that the setup? Like, it's the city that's all the rich people live in? And there's the city underneath, which is on the planet Earth. On the Earth's surface, which is like fucked up. Actually, I don't know if it was Earth. I think so, because they mentioned Mars. They mentioned that how Earth had a war with Mars at some point, so I guess it must have been Earth, because there's not really other planets that are somewhat inhabitable in our fucking galaxy nearby Earth. I guess Mercury, but Mercury's like... Mercury's really close to the Sun, so it's... I don't know how you just walk around Mercury, you're not burned to death immediately. And Venus is covered in acid rains. Saturn is a gas planet, so is Uranus. Pluto, I guess, works, but it's pretty far away and cold. It's like the opposite of Mercury. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing one more planet. You know how I used to memorize the order of planets? Remember that Drake and Josh episode where they sing the planet's order because Drake has a hard time remembering that? Drake has like a test coming up where he has to remember the planet's order in our galaxy, and they sing a song. And straight up, that's the only reason I remembered all the planets in order, because I just remembered that song.
I am impressed.
Do it.
And everybody in my class also did that. I remember one time we actually had a test coming up where you had to list all the planets, and we were all singing that
My
song.
father, my emperor.
Shao Kahn is your father?
Shao Kahn's your daddy?
You must kill me.
I will not.
Why?
This encounter never took place. You have disgraced no one.
Aw, how beautiful of him. Nice titties, by the way.
I hope we meet again.
I was talking about Liu Kang. Look at his titties. They're fucking great, right? I think so. They're a bit... I don't know. Much. Everybody has the same size chest in this game. It's like they took one model and just made everybody shaped the same. Look at these three. They all shaped the same. They had these huge fucking shoulders. Johnny Cage is shaped like that. Jax is shaped like that. This is the last episode I'm recording this week. Next week I'm probably gonna record a bunch of Sleeping Dogs, and then maybe after that, I'm gonna record this fucking goddamn San Andreas Definitive Edition. Oh. But we played as Scorpion last episode, 2 episodes ago. I forgot about Cyrax. He sucks. Oh, this fight sucks. Quan Chi fucking sucks. This fight is awful. Maybe this is the reason why this episode's so long. It could be. Yeah, and I forgot what his name was. I just kept thinking about him as the good doctor because that's what everybody called him. Yeah, so we see him like scavenging, and he finds Alita's like head and part of her torso, which he later puts together and makes Alita into like a full robot. Which I guess in this universe, robots and cyborgs like her, she's not a cyborg, she's a full-on robot. She doesn't have any human parts left. She never was a human. They call her a cyborg, but she's not. She's a fucking robot. Or more less racist of me, she's an android. You know the fucking differences. Like cyborg is somebody like Jax from Mortal Kombat, except after he loses his arms. If you didn't notice, he still has his normal arms. He loses them later, and that's when you play as him, and he's all cool now. Actually, I take that back. When you play as Jax in this game, he still has his normal arms. He just has like these things on his arms that make him punch harder. And that's the original design of Jax. He never had robot arms in the original appearance. I think it was Mortal Kombat 2. Or 3, I forgot. And later they made him lose his arms. Even in the movie I think he lost his arms, and he has robot arms instead. I remember the dumbest part about the new movie was everybody like reaching their full potential. And in Jax's case, it meant that his arms went from being really skinny robot arms, which were really asymmetrical with the rest of his big body. They just became like really big and fitting. And I was like, why would that happen when he reaches his full potential? I probably fucking hate fighting Quan Chi. He has like mind control moves and they're like fucking awful. I hate him. And him and Scorpion just fucking obliterate me, Jesus. Imagine me trying to do this with Please Now where I hit lag input and the game and the screen sometimes went gray. And I did it, because I got pretty far in it, using PlayStation Now. I really wish I didn't deleted that footage because I almost feel like it is actually... I have a reason to show off how far I got with how the game played. I don't think I will ever play anything on PlayStation Now anymore. Unless I get some fucking NASA internet. Which I won't because I don't have cable internet in my house, I only have Wi-Fi. So it sucks. I know. Oh my god. Another game I beat on PlayStation Now. Actually I didn't. Did I beat it? Yeah, I think I actually beaten that game on PlayStation Now, unlike Mortal Kombat where I gave up after a while and decided that I'm better off recording the PC version. It was Sonic Adventure, and that game also had the same problems. I had lag input and the screen was going fucking fucked up sometimes. And shit, I'm gonna lose. Damn it. And he did a fucking X-ray on me too. I love his X-ray, but it's fucking annoying as fuck.
Quan Chi wins. Round 2. Fight.
And I also re-recorded the entire game, so... playing the PC version, so... yeah, because it was so horrible that I just couldn't fucking bear it. Recently I've been recording some PS2 footage using an emulator. SpongeBob games, but then I realized that those games have PC versions, and they're probably way better optimized than the PS2 emulator I have. So I think I'm gonna re-record these two games. And it's been a while since I played them, and one of them I never even finished. SpongeBob the movie I didn't finish, while SpongeBob Creature from the Krusty Krab I finished, but like I said, I was playing in a pretty shitty quality. So I think I'm gonna re-record these two games, probably running better on the PC version. Another SpongeBob game I wanna play is the new one coming up, and Battle for Bikini Bottom. Rehydrated, probably, not the original one. What the fuck, I'm fucking... Jesus Christ. I'm like losing my fucking mind. And yeah, those are all the SpongeBob games I really want to play on this channel. Talking about Battle Angel. Later explained that because she has the face of an angel and the body made for battle, right? That's the title, and her name's Alita. So now the title makes sense. Also, you know who made this movie? Robert Rodriguez. He also made Spy Kids movies. I don't know what else he made. He made Spy Kids. I really liked Spy Kids as a kid. Yeah, so the good doctor's a bounty hunter, which the movie implies that he's a murderer and he gets parts for his robots and his modifications, because he's kind of like a Ripper Doc, where people who have like robot arms come to him for him to fix their arms. That's why he was able to build Alita, right? And the movie implies that he's also a murderer who kills people to probably take their parts and put them in his creations. Later we find out it's not the case, that he's actually going around trying to hunt down the killer who does that, because he's a bounty hunter. Because the thing, like, he fixes somebody's arm and the guy pays him with oranges, because he doesn't have money to pay him with. And he's like, that's fine. And the nurse he has with him is like, oh, if you're gonna accept payment in fruit, we're gonna start a fucking fruit farm soon, or some shit like that. So, you know, it turns out he has money because he's a bounty hunter. He kills people at night. He comes out and he looks like Heisenberg from Resident Evil 7. He has like a really cool fucking hat, a really cool coat, like a leather coat. And he's carrying around this like big fucking hammer with like a spike on it. It's like a big war hammer. So similar to what Heisenberg has, and he also wields it, even though it's like a giant hammer, he wields it with relative ease. That's my favorite trope in like fiction, when a character has like a big fucking uncomfortable to hold weapon, but they control it no problem, just because whatever. I always imagine those weapons must be hollow inside, so they're actually lighter than they look. Like the Buster Sword. It kind of makes sense for the Buster Sword to be hollow inside. Maybe. But then it would have to be made out of some sturdy metal, if it's like a thin layer of metal just empty inside. Yeah, and there's like another character named Hugo, and he's a cool guy. He's pretty cool. I like him throughout this movie. He has a cool outfit. We later find out he's kind of a dick, and he's not as good of a person. Like, he's good to Alita, and he's nice to her, and he likes her genuinely, but he's harvesting people's mechanical parts. As he points out, he never kills anybody, he just steals their fucking parts. But that's like if somebody stopped you on a road and stole your car's engine and just fucking left you there. And it's like, man, fuck you. What an asshole. Yeah, and then we're gonna introduce to something called Motorball, which is like roller skating with this like automatically propelled roller skates. Also combined with that one game that they play in El Dorado. I don't know if you guys remember El Dorado, but there was like a game they played in that movie. And it reminded me a lot of what they played here, where they have to get the ball into like a hoop on a side of a wall. Except they were roller skating. I don't think they were roller skating in El Dorado. I don't remember what they were doing in El Dorado. I think it was just a basketball game, but the basket is like on the side of a wall.
Liu Kang.
I won for once. Spamming moves
Round
is the superior strategy. Man, I need to take a shit. I need to kill myself. Man, I've been so fucking bombed out and depressed recently. Jesus Christ. It's just really sad. And been for a while. Meant to say something, I forgot what it was. Yeah, I thought it was just like a funny little universe building type thing, like, oh, this is the sport we're all fucking having fun with, right? But it actually later turns out that like the major leagues of that sport are like an important plot point, and it's not just like some kind of a cool side note. Also, the world that they live in, when they first shown it at the beginning, and it looked like the beginning of WALL-E, where everything's destroyed, I filmed like, oh, it's like a post-apocalyptic movie. It kind of is, because it takes place like 2,500 something.
Liu Kang wins.
But the thing about it is that the streets of the city that they were in are so, like, the city looks so fucking cool. It looks like fucking Blade Runner mixed with India. And it's just like a very pleasant place. Everybody's like relatively nice to each other.
What's a Goro?
I don't know. Some piece of shit.
Liu Kang.
I gotta fight Goro.
Years since an Earthrealm warrior has progressed this far.
I thought like, who's this old lady speaking to me? Oh, it's Shang Tsung. He sounded like an old lady when he wasn't on screen.
To the lair with you.
Why are you such a dick? I won fair and square. I didn't cheat. There's no cheat codes to this game, I think. Uh-oh. What's the Let's Play after this one? You might be wondering. It's Shovel Knight. Is it Shovel Knight? Yeah, it should be Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows. Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows.
I did not expect to fight in this tournament, but eventually, even the Shaolin produce a warrior.
I love Goro, he's so fucking cool.
I know who you are.
He looks really silly in the original game because he's like a clay figure. You know how they made Mortal Kombat original, right? They took a bunch of pictures of actors and then digitized, and they put them in the game basically as the sprites. But Goro, you know, because nobody on Earth has 4 arms, I believe. Or with 2 heads, but I don't think there's anybody with 4 fucking arms. So Goro was a clay figure they took pictures of, and he looks really silly. Also, what's up with Goro having scales on his back? Another thing that the movie really pissed me off about the new one. Goro shows up in it, and he looks like a pretty decent CGI, but he gets killed off like really easily.
Liu Kang wins. Round 2. Fight!
Yeah, I kind of forgot what the fuck happened throughout the movie, but Alita eventually becomes, oh yeah, because the doctor's trying to hunt down the free assassins. Also, I was really confused with the main bad guy in this movie, because the main bad guy is somebody called Nova, and he's on the screen very briefly. I guess this movie definitely sets up a sequel, so I hope it happens because I really like this movie. Hope it didn't underperform or anything like that. And yeah, but there's also like a guy named Vector, which I was like, oh, is it Victor Vector? I don't know if this guy was meant to be a reference to Cyberpunk.
Fight.
Victor Vector, I forgot if he was like in the original board game. In fact, I believe Victor Vector is some kind of a original character somebody had in the original board game, which they later turned into Night Strategy, I guess, which they later turned into like an official character in the game. Oh, check it out, they all obliterated too. Ah, fuck, he copied my moves. I didn't know Goro can shoot fucking lasers. He's cheating. What a jackass.
Liu Kang
Nice.
wins.
I'm so good at this game.
Fight.
Ah, he blocked it, what an asshole. Also, we get to play as Liu Kang again later in the game. There's a chapter where you play as Kung Lao, but the final fight you play as Liu Kang, I believe. So it's kind of a dick move. Why do we play as Liu Kang twice? I want to play as... I think it's... Oh yeah, we play as Sub-Zero twice too. Sub-Zero got a lot of love in this game. Except the first time we play as him in Sub-Zero, later we play as him again and it's Cyber Sub-Zero. It's the dumbest thing ever. How do you go from being a human to a robot and then back to a human? So stupid, I hate this fucking Cyberlink way. It's the dumbest part of Mortal Kombat's lore. Especially when, like, recent Mortal Kombats are, like, very serious about their story. And then you just remember that Sub-Zero used to be a robot at one point. Jesus fucking Christ, I keep hearing shit. I'm going fucking insane. Uh-oh, Green Vortex. Not good. I love all the side assassins in this movie. There's assassin who's like, he looks like Mr. X, but like twice as wide. He doesn't look like Mr. X. At first when he shows up, he's like, has like a hood on. But he's like a big fucking motherfucker who's like pretty huge. He looks like a gorilla. Because like all of his body is just metal. There's a guy who looks like like Jack the Ripper or something like that. I gotta fight Shang Tsung. Hope he's easy.
Face me in Mortal Kombat.
Ooh, Mortal Kombat. I like Mortal Kombat. You guys like Mortal Kombat? I don't. Yeah, and there's a girl who has like blade arms and shit. I don't know why, but I have a memory that my dad was watching a trailer for a movie one time, and only scene I remember from that trailer is like girl on her knees with like blade arms, kind of like the Mantis blades from Cyberpunk. That's the only thing I remember, and I just do not know what the fuck was that movie, and I never found out. I never could have find what this movie was supposed to be. Shang Tsung can copy your character. You basically get that character's moves. I think he can do the same exact thing in Mortal Kombat 11, where he comes back. I hope so, because it's a really cool move. Except it probably like means Shang Tsung is like some kind of a pro character for you to memorize other characters' moves. Think about it, if you memorize all the characters' moves and you can like face off against Goro or something, and you turn into Goro for a second and do like one of his most powerful moves, and then you just turn back into Shang Tsung, that's pretty awesome. Also, Shang Tsung is the only way you can, for a second, play as Ermac in MK11, because sometimes he turns into Ermac, and he uses like Ermac moves. Sometimes he turns into Reptile, and Smoke, I believe. So I guess that's like a nice little way to remind you that I thought I won, but it was Shang Tsung dressed as me. Nice. Thank you, Shang Tsung, you dickhead. Fooling me into thinking I won. You jump around me too much. There's more assassins. There's like a cowboy assassin whose main weapon is that he has like robot dogs. He shows up in Fortress one scene and never again. I'm assuming maybe somebody who played him was like a cameo, so they got him to be a little bit more important than just sitting on a chair in a fucking mercenary bar or some shit. Now, I don't want to spoil the plot too much. I'll usually recap the plot, but I can't kind of have a hard time doing this. That's a lot of fucking cool shit that happens in that movie. A lot of cool. I almost fucking lost it. You saw that?
I concede.
Also, Mortal Kombat's some very unorganized event. If anybody can just go rogue and beat the shit out of the host of the event. They should make more rules to this fucking tournament, more other than, oh, it's like a tournament that happens every whatever, and if Earthrealm loses 10 times in a row, then they get to be taken in by a Outworld or some shit like that. Why is she looking at him like that? Oh, he looked back at her. Could it be that they hate each other? I think so. Jesus Christ, Liu Kang, you give me some unrealistic expectation of what I could fucking look like if I worked out. One day at the gym, I'm gonna look like this. I think I would never in my life look like this, to be honest. I can hear some shit in the background. Can you guys hear like little whispers? Maybe I'm not going insane. Maybe it's because I was watching a YouTube video while recording this. I think the episode's over. It's not over yet.
You failed me. 500
Uh-oh.
years I have waited.
Who's yelling?
Now I must wait 500 more.
Oh, fuck it.
All is not lost.
Curse the Elder Gods in their turn.
Skeletor.
I should have taken Earthrealm by force.
It's Shao Kahn.
I am bound by their rules.
I like Shao Kahn.
Rules that cannot be broken.
My
He's
lord.
supposed to be half dragon, that's why his eyes are all fucking weird.
What if the rules were changed?
Katana.
Are there any rules to begin with?
Continue.
So if you guys want to recap all of Mortal Kombat's plot with me, I recommend waiting for when I do the fucking Let's Play of Mortal Kombat 10, because my original Mortal Kombat 10 Let's Play is not really good. So I'm gonna redo it again. But my Mortal Kombat 11 Let's Play, I recommend you go and watch. It's good. It's alright. It's nothing spectacular. I don't think any of my Let's Plays are spectacular. Unless I did a Let's Play of a game nobody else did. Such as... No, I don't think I ever did. Oh, fuck, Jax. Episode's over. Fuck, see you fellas in the next episode. Bye.
I do not